Isn't it funny how badly life can suck? Okay, well, not suck, but, just fail to live up to the expectations you once had for it. I mean, when you're a kid, the future feels so full of promise. You're going to take on the world, be someone of note, and make a difference. Then you wake up one day and realize you've spent a decade working a job you loathe, for a boss who doesn't care about you, and for the money you may or may not really need. You've been climbing a ladder to nowhere, in a constant state of discontent. It's easy to feel an overriding sense that there must be something more. Sound familiar? If so, then I hope this will prove useful. It's all about how to escape the rat race, a goal that holds a special place in my heart. If you're tired of the daily grind and feel yourself steadily losing interest in it, then something has to change. Getting out of the race should be the first port of call. Wealth is a state of mind, the popular saying goes. Some would say it's the lack of money that makes people poor. Others would claim it's the spiritual emptiness of the rich that makes them miserable. I can't speak for others. Here's what I learned alongside building my financial independence. Income doesn't equal wealth. My parents are cash rich but not wealthy. They don't have properties, stocks, or any inheritable assets. So, I'm probably not getting much. But that's fine. I grew up with another problem. My cash-rich family fosters a poor mentality. All the money in the world couldn't make us rich. Even if we had $10 million in cash, we'd still scrape pennies to close the month. My dad still earns well over 6 figures and sometimes even extends his hard work to an extra zero on his tax statement. However, that million has never helped us feel like we had a comfortable life. Emergencies, rampant spending, and gazillion compounded details made us all sleep in a rented 2-bedroom flat. I grew up in a weird limbo. Our wealth didn't grow in proportion to the money my parents had. Many athletes face a similar, but more extreme reality. Football, baseball, and NBA stars splurge while the money flows. Life seems like a never-ending party. Lambos and Las Vegas hotels. Back-to-back villa parties. Each check comes bigger than the last. But once the music stops, they're out of wealth. Nobody is around to keep the needle on the vinyl. Some athletes come from low-income households. Sport becomes the only way out of ghettos. They dribble their way out of street shootouts and food stamps. Some become rich. Lucky ones turn famous. And almost all of them keep this mentality. Former NBA player Isaiah Ryder was arrested on Skid Row in 2008. Mike Tyson officially went bankrupt. Rapper DMX died indebted despite being an international music sensation. The hamster wheel of rags to riches and back to rags is more common than staying wealthy. I wanted to break the spell. Wealth is not the abundance of money. If you earn $80K a year and live happily, spending $50K, you're rich. Imagine if you invest the leftover $30K into property, stock portfolios, and growth assets. Then, in 10 years, you could finally become more independent. In 20 years, you'd build a considerable portfolio. In 50 years, your heritage would be sizable enough for your children to continue accumulating wealth. 3 generations down the line, you're eternally rich. Just ask your British friends about their posh friends working menial jobs. For many, having a job is just a pastime. Wealthy teach their kids how to stay wealthy, no matter the job they work. Abigail Disney was taught from a young age to protect her dynastic wealth. If you make $1 million and spend all of it in the same year, you're left with nothing. On the other hand, if you grow your $1 million, you can go bankrupt many times and still stay rich. I turned to markets and financial education. Sisyphus cheated death, but ended up pushing a rock uphill for all of eternity. This was probably not his plan, but it's something that happens. Social patterns are near impossible to break. I wanted to cheat the destiny of my class. Rich mostly stay rich while the poor manage to get food on the table, have a few weekend drinks, and splurge on a nice piece of tech now and then. I ran away from myself. My parents couldn't teach me about financial independence. They never taught me to think long-term. I picked up financial books. I've got some skin in the game with my first stock portfolio in 2011. I'm nowhere near a wealthy individual, but my journey feels exciting. I'm not missing any fun. I don't save rigorously. I'm just learning to manage my money. I wouldn't buy a Hermes bag, but I'll buy a financial asset any day. If I go off the grid tomorrow, I could live for a year without any income. So my best financial advice is, think in decades. Money plus time equals wealth. Grow your bond bank. Buy revenue-generating assets. Compound. Repeat. Financial independence will make you happier than any splurging spree. Nothing looks as good as financial independence feels. 1. The passive income strategy. Escape the rat race with the passive income strategy. The third strategy for escaping the rat race involves earning enough passive income to cover your cost of living. There are many definitions of passive income, but for our purposes here we'll use the following. Passive income requires no significant upfront investment of capital. Passive income does depend on an upfront investment of time and energy. Once established, passive income streams do not require real-time involvement on your part. However, contrary to what the name implies, the passive income typically requires some amount of ongoing effort to maintain it. Once established, passive income sources may require up to around 20 hours of ongoing work per week. Passive income is often made possible by automating recurring business processes such as payment processing, fulfillment, and delivery. Examples of the passive income strategy. 1. Creating a business and automating it through outsourcing. This example was popularized by Tim Ferriss in his seminal book, The 4-Hour Workweek. For more on this subject, though, I would actually recommend the following books by Michael Gerber over the 4-Hour Workweek, although I found all three to be fascinating reads. Gerber encourages entrepreneurs in any business or industry to avoid simply trading their time for money by working in their business, and to remember to prioritize working on their business, developing repeatable processes, and automating or outsourcing as many activities as possible. 2. Short-term rentals. I briefly touched on real estate investing above, but it's worth mentioning again in the context of passive income that isn't dependent on having significant capital to succeed. Here are 2 examples of using Airbnb as a source of passive income. Renting out your primary residence while you're traveling. A few years ago, we decided to spend our first winter of early retirement in Ecuador, and I didn't like the idea of just leaving our Colorado home empty. We decided to rent out our home on Airbnb, and we were surprised by how lucrative it was. Our home's first ever booking was $1,890 for 8 nights. We shared our initial experiences here, and we've done a fair amount of hosting in the meantime as well. Now we've recently begun our longest trip abroad yet. We're spending 18 months in Latin America in order to give our kids a shot at becoming bilingual before they start elementary school in Colorado. We're again hosting on Airbnb to bring in a few $1,000s of income per month while we're away, which will likely be enough to cover all of our living expenses while we're abroad. 3. An e-commerce site selling physical products. Consider the many Shopify stores selling physical goods. The fulfillment of those goods is often outsourced to a third party like Amazon. And thanks to Shopify's integration with MailerLite and other email services, it's fairly straightforward to spend time once automating a series of introductory emails that then go out to every new customer. We've all received these emails, but have you ever considered that this is a completely passive experience on the back end for the shop owners after they develop that email sequence the first time? Not only that, but these automated emails ensure a consistently high-quality onboarding experience for customers as well. 2. The portfolio income strategy. Escape the rat race with the portfolio income strategy. The second way to escape the rat race is to accumulate an investment portfolio large enough to indefinitely cover your cost of living. The key to this strategy is accelerating your saving rate. All wealth is built by spending less than you earn. The conventional wisdom is that workers should aim to save 5-10% of their after-tax income for retirement. Few manage to save even that much. The problem with these low saving rate targets is that you must work for 51-66 years to accumulate enough savings to retire. Practically speaking, saving 5-10% towards retirement still means working until a government or employer retirement program allows you to retire. The portfolio income strategy reveals its strength at higher saving rates. Can you save 25% of your after-tax income? If so, you've cut your required working years down to 32. How about saving 50% of your after-tax income? Great. Now you're looking at only 17 working years until retirement. What if you saved 75% of your after-tax income? Then your working years until retirement drops to 7. But how is it possible to achieve such high saving rates? 1. Increase your household income. 2. Reduce your household expenses. 3. Prudently invest the difference. Of course, it's easy for anyone to quickly summarize these factors in a bulleted list. But it can be challenging for some to break the cycle of earning and spending, earning more and spending more. But if escaping the rat race is your aim, I'd encourage you to see what you can do to save more. You'll likely surprise yourself. Advantages of the portfolio income strategy. Reduced working years until retirement. For most of us, this is the primary benefit. Maintaining a high saving rate allows you to accumulate a lifetime supply of money in a relatively short period of time. Improved financial resilience. Month by month and year by year, the portfolio income strategy improves your financial security and your ability to calmly respond to unexpected expenses or shortfalls of income as these circumstances arise. Just going from living paycheck to having a month's worth of expenses set aside brings considerable peace of mind. And your financial confidence increases as you go on to accumulate a year's worth of expenses, then 2 years' worth of expenses, and so on. Reduced ecological impact. Cutting consumption isn't just about saving money. One of humanity's greatest challenges for the 21st century and beyond is mitigating the deleterious effects on the planet of the high-consumption lifestyles typically associated with industrialized society. The portfolio income strategy can improve your household's ecological impact in 2 crucial ways. 1. Curbing current consumption. When people discover that a saving rate of 50-75% makes early retirement possible in 7-17 years, it's not uncommon for them to immediately reduce their consumption habits. Joel and his wife reduced their spending from $110,000 per year to approximately $30,000 per year in a matter of a few years after discovering the FIRE movement. 2. Locking in lower long-term consumption. Many people in the FIRE movement target an investment portfolio equal to or greater than 25x their annual spending. We were no exception. And after maintaining reduced consumption patterns for years on end in order to accumulate a portfolio of that size, you prove to yourself that you don't need as much to be happy as you previously might have believed. In Joel's example above, he quit his job in 2017 with approximately $800,000 saved. He didn't wait until he had accumulated $2,750,000 and could safely sustain a return to their original $110,000 annual spending levels. Instead, Joel decided his time was more valuable than returning to his former high-consumption lifestyle.